I've got a feeling that this video is going to be extremely long, so if I miss out on any small things or any kind of plot line or whatever, please, I do apologize. There is just a lot to cover in this video, so without further ado, let's just get started straight away. Last time we left off with Queen Morgase setting Rand free because she believes that Rand did nothing wrong, or he had no intention of doing anything wrong, so he's free and he's back at the Queen's blessing. And we also get to find out that there are white cloaks looking for two river folks, right? And Rand here thinks that it's him and Mat, right? But later onwards we find out that it's actually Egwene and Perrin that these white cloaks are looking for, because they did escape from them while Lan and Moraine set them free, right? However, finally, man, everyone is finally back together. Moraine and the others finally came to the Queen's blessing, and everyone was just so happy to see each other. Rand was so happy to see Egwene, Perrin, Nynaeve, and vice versa. It was just so great, man. I was so happy for that. And then Mat, right? Rand took them upstairs where Mat was, and he was not himself. He was very off character, that's the word. And Nynaeve and Egwene naturally was like, we have to help him, right? So they tried to help him. They were getting quite close to him, which I think was a bad move. And when Moraine came indoors, she was like, stop, get away from him, man, because apparently the dagger that Mat has, yeah, it still contains evil in it. So evil is so bad that if it consumes you, you will like have a thirst for killing. So that's why it's quite bad, and Moraine had to deal with Mat herself. So while Moraine was taking care of Mat, everyone went downstairs to meet Loyrell, and then from there we get to find out more about Loyrell, how he's from the steading Shanghai. I looked at the book and it's like very southeast, the steading, and we also learn more about the steading because Perrin and Egwene in specific were interested because they were in a different steading. So that answers my question, because back then I thought there was only one steading, yeah, but now I know that there's different types of steading, so that's interesting. And then comes Mat, and he seems to be okay. However, Rand notices that Mat still has a dagger with him, and Moraine was like to Rand, he still has evil inside of him that I cannot take away completely in the dagger, so he needs to go to Tar Valon, where further assistance is required to get that evil out of him completely. So that's the plan for now. So for now, everyone needs to stay close to Moraine. And there was one point in the conversation where Rand was telling his whole story, how he wanted to meet the Queen and so on, and then Elaida popped out of his mouth, and then Moraine was shocked. She was like, what? Did you say Elaida? What of her? Why is she even mentioned here? So that just makes Elaida even way more scary. If Moraine is scared of her, because Moraine can sometimes be scary, so if a scary person is scared of someone else, that makes them even more scary, which is horrific. I feel like Elaida's story in the next few books are going to be very fascinating, man, because she is a very fascinating character and I want to know more about her. We only got to see Elaida in one chapter, so very interested to see where this goes with Elaida. Here a lot of information has been spilled. So Loyrell was to like Moraine, I've never seen an Aes Sedai before, so I want to ask you something. I've heard that the Dark One is planning to stop the wheel of time and blind the eye of the serpent, or the eye of the great serpent, something like that. And Perrin and Egwene was like, that's exactly what the Tinkers told us when the Aiel people went to the Blight, I think, and they said Sightbinder, which is the Dark One in their language, seeks to do the exact same thing. And then the three boys, Rand, Perrin and Mat, ended up telling Moraine about their dreams, how Baal Zamorn entered the dream multiple times, and then Moraine was like, I told you to tell me earlier, but it is what it is, man. The wheel weaves, the wheel turns. It's just how it is, man. And there was also a constant saying between Moraine and Loyrell how the three boys are T-Vern, right? How the pattern pretty much is around them, it all revolves around them, if that makes sense. So they basically dictate what's going to happen according to their actions, if that makes sense. That's what I have gathered so far. I'm sure it will be explained more as we go down into future books, right? Because I've heard that I won't understand completely what the pattern is until I reach book 7. So, but that's what I kind of get from it. Like, no one can control them, for example. They kind of dictate what's going to happen as they live, like as they take actions here and there. After all that, Moraine has come into conclusion that their final destination will not be Tar Valon anymore. They need to go beyond the Blight to warn the Green Man, and they need to get to the Eye of the World. Here is a problem. There is a bunch of Trollocs and Fades outside of Caemlyn right now, like a whole bunch of them right now. So if they were to travel normally to the Blight, they would definitely get outrun by the Trollocs and stuff, and that would not be good. And that's where we learn about the ways and the waygate, and that's how the Trollocs pretty much had their numbers coming into different locations so quickly. That's how they attacked the Two Rivers. That's how they got their numbers after Baerlon, I think, the massive amount of numbers. So it was through the ways of the waygates, right? And Trollocs and Fades were never known to use the waygates until recently. We also find out that the waygates were built by male Aes Sedai like over 3,000 years ago, right? So it was a very long time ago. So with the male Aes Sedai building the waygates, right, there's two types of opinions between the current Aes Sedai. There's a bad opinion, how they just did it to curse the future or something like that, I can't remember exactly. And there's a good opinion, like this is for the good for the future, you know what I mean? And that's where different types of Aes Sedai come into conclusion, right? So when Loiral was explaining the story, Moraine was like, don't worry, I'm a blue ager, I'm not the red ager. So I'm assuming that red ager is against the whole waygate thingy, while the blue ager kind of looks for more options, if that makes sense. And then another dream. This time all three of the boys have the exact same dream where they see Ba Alzamon, but this time Ba Alzamon literally notices them, like he knows them, especially Matt. Matt says that Ba Alzamon knows his face now, so he literally can physically see him, which is not good news. So they decide to go ASAP, and that's where they went through the waygates. And the waygates, the ways, that's how they say it, is a very dark place with different bridges taking you to different gates and stuff. So it was interesting, right? It reminded me of Shadow Logoth, but in a different kind of way, because Shadow Logoth had Mashadar, that evil foggy thing, and the waygate had the Black Wind. Now the Black Wind didn't get them, even the Masha didn't get them. We don't know what the Black Wind does exactly. I don't know if it kills you, I don't know what it does to you, but we later find out that someone else has been behind them, and we'll get to that someone else later. Honestly, I'm just gonna say it right now, I had a feeling that the follower that was following them the whole time would have been Tom, right? I thought it would have been Tom, because there's no way that guy's dead, yeah? But it was someone else, which we'll get to later, yeah? After they managed to get out of the ways, they went for Fal Dara, and that's where we get to meet a new character, I feel, which might have some sort of significance in the future, called Lord Agelmar. He's like the lord of the Fal Dara place, so, and he seems like a good character, man. However, he favors the girls over the boys for some reason, man. He always looks down on Rand, Mat, and Perrin, while looks up at Egwene and Nynaeve. We also get to find out there's a crazy man outside the walls right now spying on whatever, the whole city and stuff, and they ended up bringing the guy inside, and it was Paden Fane. Now, I was disappointed that it was not Tom. However, I was at the same time satisfied, because I did predict, I think in my second part, where Paden Fane might be a dark friend. I did predict that, and I got it right. Yes, man, I got that right, man. So Paden Fane, that guy's no good. And we also get to find out that he was the beggar, that crazy beggar that gave Rand away, which made him go to the Queen's garden, yeah? So damn, man, that's actually crazy, bro. Paden Fane, the peddler from chapter 3 or chapter 2, I think. But anyway, we also get to find out that Paden Fane was a dark friend for 40 odd years, and we also get to find out his story, how he never really wanted this, but it was kind of forced upon him. Like, he was a dark friend, right? But when he was chosen to go after Rand and the other boys, that's when life was bad for him, man. Like, he was with the Trollocs, with the murderers, he was running away, he was caught again. He was just constantly after them, and I don't feel bad for him, but at the same time I do. But interesting. Paden Fane did not tell Moraine everything, so I feel like we can find more about him in the next book. We also get to find more about Lan's past, how he is meant to be like a king who's like at the same level as Morghese, of this kingdom called Malkiri, I think, something like that. However, that kingdom is long defeated, and Lan just went in a different road. He took a different road in becoming a warder instead of a king, right? So everyone in Fal Dara, when they see Rand, they're like, are you gonna raise the banner again? Because if you do, you are gonna have so many followers, man, because people are literally waiting for you to become king again. So that's very interesting, man. I wonder if Lan will ever become a king. We know that Lan vowed himself to an Aes Sedai, and I don't know if you can break that bond between them too. So interesting. He's meant to be a king, but he's a warder. And will he get rid of that watership into becoming a king in the future? That's a good question, man. But what would Lan do if he was a king? Very interesting, man. One interesting thing that happened here, right? Before they actually left to go to the Blight, Agelma was like to Moraine, are you sure you want to take these 3 people? And then that's when Moraine was like, these are the 3 people that's actually gonna fight in the eye, right? And then Agelma was like, wait, are you serious? These 3 farm boys? And then that's where Moraine was like, are you really gonna doubt the blood of the Manetheren people? And this is interesting, because that's where Agelma was like, true, I would never doubt the Manetheren blood. However, Rand does not have that blood. We know that Rand is an outsider, and everyone seems to be trusting this Manetheren blood, which is fair enough. You can trust Perrin and Mats. However, can you trust Rand in the future? Because he does not come from the Manetheren blood. It seems like there's some sort of honor within that kind of blood, but Rand obviously does not have a blood. I'm assuming that Rand is from the Aiel tribe, because that's what Gawain said before Rand left the castle, yeah? And he was like, you look like an Aiel man, so I'm assuming that he's from the Aiel tribe. And interesting. I want to learn more about the Aiel people. Like, what kind of people are they? Are they people to be feared? Like, Rand might have a sketchy future. Rand might be all good now, but he might become evil in the future. You never know. You never know, you never know. Just a thought, just a thought. On their way to the Blight, Egwene constantly kept talking about how she cannot wait to get to Tar Valon after everything's over, because she wants to become an Aes Sedai really badly, and she also wants Rand to be her warder, so that's a thing. And not gonna lie, Egwene is the one character in our crew that hasn't completely won me over. Like, I want to like Egwene, but some of the stuff that she does and says, that I'm just like, why Egwene, why? For example, whenever Rand talks about another girl, Egwene gets jealous, Egwene gets spiced up. However, Egwene, you were the one who were dancing with a boy every single day, and you still, I think he gave her a necklace or a ring and she still wears it. Like, anyway, from one love story to another, we get to find out that Nynaeve and Lan's feelings are quite mutual. They both have a thing for each other. However, Lan was like, I don't see a future with you because of my current status, and that left Nynaeve kind of sad. And Nynaeve was crying after, man. Like, Nynaeve really likes this guy. When it comes to romance, I don't really care about it that much. However, Nynaeve is my favorite character, and I don't want to see her sad, man, so I hope that she gets happy in the future. Okay, this is where the story went from 0 to 100. The pacing increased so much, literally just when they got to the Blight. So the Blight was a very dry place. Like, the trees were dead, everything was just dead, everything was crazy, yeah? However, the trees seemed to be alive. Like, they were after them, they were attacking them, they had to run away from the trees. There was also some weird creatures there. I forgot how these creatures were described, so I'm just gonna ignore that for now, but there was creatures there as well. There was also these crazy things called the worms, and apparently even a Fade is no match for a worm, so they had to get out of there straight away. And after running some time, they finally got out of the Blight, and that's where we get to meet the Green Man. Now, this is where I was so satisfied. The Green Man, when he saw Perrin and Rand in specific, when he saw Perrin, he was like, oh, what's a wolf brother doing here? So that was kind of, I don't know what a wolf brother is, but wolf, there's a connection with Perrin, right? However, when he got to Rand, he was like, what is a child of the dragon doing here, and why does he have a sword with him? I was so satisfied. You guys know, throughout the whole book I have been calling it, Rand is the dragon, Rand is the dragon, and that literally confirmed it for me, and I was left satisfied. Now we finally get to find out what the Eye of the World is, and the Eye of the World is a pool, like a pool that doesn't have an ending. Like, when you look at it, you can never see the ends. We also know that the Eye of the World has some sort of power, right? However, no one can really use that power because it only can be controlled by males, because there is Saidin in it, I think, or can only be used by the power of Saidin. And the only people that can use Saidin are the worthy male Aes Sedai 3,000 years ago, and there's no male Aes Sedai here anymore. So straight away, 2 people popped up in my mind. One was the false dragon Logain. Second was Rand, because I did have a theory that Rand could use the one power after, you know, previous events that happened in the last parts, right? Before we get to find out more about that, 2 Forsaken had come out of nowhere and they were like, we have been waiting for you. One in specific was called Agona, I think that's his name, Agona. Now, was this the same guy from the prologue that was fighting Lu's Theron? I'm not sure, because he kept saying how he battled Luz and so on, and how he lived for a very long time, and he is apparently immortal as well. He's not mortal, he's immortal, that's for sure, because he is really old and he's just not dying, and he's also very strong. Like, he is extremely strong. Moraine is no match for him, and we know how strong Moraine is, right? Throughout the whole story, Lan and Moraine were the ones to protect everyone, but this time these Forsaken were completely overpowering both of them at the same time, you know what I mean? So they needed the green man to come, and he did come and he helped them out. He killed one of them and he died at the same time, which is interesting because the green man is always considered to be a legend. However, he died, which may be important in the future. I'm not sure how, but it may be big, because the green man seems to be someone important when you need something, and if that importance in terms of need is dead, what will that mean for the future? That's something to think about. Alright, here comes the juicy part. So Rand saw Egwene trying to use the one power, right? And Rand was like, don't use it, man. God damn, bro, Egwene, bro. And then Rand obviously stopped Egwene and they ended up running away. But then he saw Agonoff. His eyes were fixed on Rand, and Rand was trying to escape the whole time, right? And because Moraine was just too weak at that point. Then Rand saw something. He saw a cord of light that's connected to Agona, and Agona is like using it to get stronger. And I think he accidentally consumed the cord, or somehow connected the cord to him, and that's where some crazy stuff happened. He did something. He said something like away. I don't know what that means, but he ended up burning Agona alive. Like, Agona was burning, and at the same time Rand teleported. I think he teleported to the other war that's been happening in the other side, in Shinia, and as soon as he teleported on the battlefield, he saw a bunch of Trollocs, a bunch of Murdrolls, like 6 or 7 Drakars like in the air. And when the enemy finally noticed Rand was like, oh damn it, I'm gonna die, man. But then he ended up summoning lightning, bro. These lightning absolutely destroyed the Drakars. And then he was like, damn, what the hell am I doing, man? He smashed the ground and the fire turned into fire. It was like an earthquake full of fire. And then the whole earth went towards the army. The army was wiped out. And then he was like, no. And while he said no, the air around him just turned into fire. It went boom, bro. It was like a massive shockwave of fire that went through towards the army. And god damn, bro, that was so cool, bro. That was some of the that was amazing writing, bro. That was some crazy action, bro. I love that scene, bro. And then Rand was like, crap, what, did I just do all that, bro? That was quite crazy, man. And after all that, he seems to be talking to Baal Zaman in his head, and Baal Zaman was like, you can't find me here. So I think a bunch of stairs just randomly came in front of Rand. I think it was like invincible, made from light or something like that. So Rand went up the stairs, and then he went where the stairs took him, right? And that's where Baal Zaman was. Baal Zaman kept saying, bow right now, or you will have a better life. If not, I'll still get you and kill you. So bow right now, you belong to me, and stuff like that. He also mentioned the Black Ager and how the Admiral Seat will use him. So bow right now. Baal Zaman tried to trick Rand as well by getting fake images of Egwene and Nynaeve. However, I think there was a real spiritual image of Rand's mother, and that scene was kind of sad because Rand's mother was like, I belong to the dead and stuff like that, help me or just do something, man. And then that's where she got tortured in front of Rand, and that's what pissed Rand off, man. Rand had a sword in his hand. This sword was not his sword with the heron blade. This was a sword made out of light, bro. God damn, bro. He has a light sword. It's like Kizaru from One Piece. I don't know if you guys know him, bro, but god damn, bro. And that's where he destroyed. He didn't slice them. This was different, right? It was like a beam at the same time. He points a sword at you, and from the tip, I think light comes out or something like that. I don't know about that. Let me know in the future how it's described, because I'm still new to descriptions when it comes to actions, but that's what I got in my head. You point at something and light comes from the point, and that just destroyed the Trollocs and not Trollocs, Fades. And while he was done with the Fades, then he saw Baal Zamon, and Baal Zamon was like, "You cannot beat me," and Ren was like, "Yes, I can." And Ren sliced that black cord that was connected to Baal Zamon, and that's how he beated Baal Zamon, I think. Ever since Ran summoned the cord, the energy or whatever power that's inside in him to beat Agona, then he went to the battle scene, defeated all the army. Not defeated them, he just did crazy amounts of damage, right? Which made the enemy retreat. And then Baal Zamon, now he is dead. Now I don't think Baal Zamon is a Dark One. I think the Dark One is just using Baal Zamon as a way to portray himself. It's like almost in Harry Potter, right, where Voldemort used other people especially in the first movie. Professor, I forgot the guy's name, but where what's it called? His head was behind the professor's head, right? I think Baal Zamon is kind of like that, where he uses someone as a hostage to portray himself as. That's probably what Baal Zamon is. So the Dark One is not dead. Dark One is still alive. I think he is going to be the main villain throughout the whole entire series. So there's no way it's going to be that easy. So the Dark One's still alive. And after all that, Rand finally comes back to the main reality. I mean, he was basically a part of some sort of reality of a reality, but this time he's back to the main reality, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? So he finds out that Agona's body is completely burnt. So he ends up looking for Egwene in specific, and he finds the three girls, right? Egwene, Nynaeve, and Moraine. And they were just helping Moraine because Moraine was seriously injured, and that's where Rand told them everything. And yeah, man, some crazy stuff, man. They were all shocked. Egwene was terrified at first, but then she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that." So that's good on Egwene. I like that from Egwene, and I respect Egwene for that. Now the only people that knows about Rand's current situation is Egwene, Nynaeve, Moraine, and Lan, because Lan just has to know everything, right? Because Lan is just important. So the only people that doesn't know is Loiral, I think, and Perrin and Matt. Those three doesn't know, which I was kind of shocked. I thought they would tell Loiral, because Loiral seems to know a lot. So I guess everyone will end up finding out because they have to, you know what I mean, at one point. You never know. What if Matt and Perrin might even be able to use the One Power? Actually, Perrin probably won't be able to use it because he's more connected with the wolves, while Matt, he might. Matt might. Anyway, while Rand was doing all this crazy stuff, the other people managed to gather some stuff from the eye, right? So there was fragments, and these fragments were pieces that locked up the Dark One. So if the fragments are not there anymore and they're with them, doesn't that mean that the locks are off and the Dark One is free? Doesn't that mean that, or does it mean that they have the keys to the Dark One's cage? I don't know which one it is, but I think it might be the first one. I think the Dark One is very close in terms of being freed, or he is freed. Do you know what I mean? The second one was the Banner of the Dragon. So we get to find out in the end that the dragon is reborn, when that's what Moraine said, and that is Rand. Rand is the dragon who is reborn. So that's the banner. So now that Rand is reborn, a lot of crazy stuff is bound to happen in the future. And the last one was a chest which had the horn of Valia. I don't know what Valia is. I don't know what the horn is meant. But however, there's one thing that straight away popped in my head. Go back to page 200 and something, where Min was telling them everything. Min mentioned a horn next to Matt's name. So does that mean that Matt is going to Ilion after? Do you know what I mean? Because the horn is with Matt's name, and the horn, and this is the horn of the Valia. Do you know what I mean? So it has something to do with Matt. Matt's character is being set up for something big. You know what I mean? Perrin, it was big at the start. I feel like Perrin's was the biggest throughout the middle, but then as we are going on, Rand obviously clearly is the biggest in terms of what's going to happen to him in the future, because he is the dragon, man, because you can't beat that, man. But Matt, he's got the dagger which has evil inside of him, so Matt is still completely not safe. And we also know that Matt has to stay with Moraine the whole time. So does that mean that Matt and Lan and Moraine, they're gonna be together all the time? That's a question to consider. And like I said, the horn, man, I feel like the horn is connected to Matt somehow. Why am I saying all this stuff right now? These were meant for the prediction parts, but anyway. After all that, the blight seems to be not evil anymore because the trees are all still, they're not moving, they're not after them. It seems to be spring is on its way, and everyone in what do you call it, Fal Dara thinks that the war is won. We also get to find out that while they were in the battle against the Trollocs, right, when everyone saw Rand, they didn't really see Rand, they saw like a light, like they thought that the light itself helped them, while Agelmar was like, nah man, I saw a man. And then we also get to find out how Agelmar thinks how important the horn is, right? And Moraine was like to him, you guys need to take it to Ilion. So that's where the question comes with Matt, like is Matt gonna go with them to Ilion? I'm not sure, but I guess we'll find out in the next book. And to end it off, Moraine announced Rand as the dragon being reborn, and that concludes the Eye of the World. Okay, time for some predictions now. I already talked about Matt's connection with the horn because that's what Min said earlier back in Balon, so that was meant to be a prediction, but I already said it, so I guess you guys already know about that, right? Now, the next prediction is Rand. Rand is considered to be the Dragon Reborn. Now, he is very new to the One Power, like he has never used it before, and no one can train him because Moraine was like, I specialize in Saidin, the female part of the magic, and everyone in Tar Valon pretty much is the exact same way. So no one can train you, man. So someone who knows Saidin needs to train Rand, and we know that the male Aes Sedai from thousands of years ago are dead. So there's only one person in my mind that comes up: Logain. I don't know if they will be enemies or friends, but regardless, I feel like he is going to be the one that's going to train Rand in order to use the One Power. So Logain and Rand are going to have an arc together in the future. That's what I can think of. We also know that Logain is on his way to Tar Valon, and we also know that Elaine and Gawain are also on their way to Tar Valon. We also know that Egwene wants to go to Tar Valon. So a lot of people wants to go to Tar Valon after this book. However, Rand wants to run away. Rand wants to go to somewhere where no one can find him because he is scared of himself. He is scared that he might bring destruction, man. So I mean, you can't blame him because that's what Saidin can do to you, man. He's tainted by the Dark One. You never know, he can go crazy. So we also know back in the Four Kings, where they were at the Thin Keeper shop, yeah, where he's summoned the lightning, and after that he was laughing. So there's some kind of madness that can happen if you use the power. So we also get to find out that Rand actually used the One Power before they even started all this journey, yeah. Back when his horse Bella wasn't tired, so Rand somehow used the One Power on Bella to reduce all her fatigue. So damn, I never noticed that, bro. God damn, bro. That's gonna be a fun part to read on rereads. So anyway, Tar Valon seems like a hotspot, but Rand is not going to Tar Valon. Rand wants to go somewhere away from Tar Valon. I still think somehow he will end up at Tar Valon, because maybe because of Egwene, because I feel like he never wants to leave Egwene alone. However, Min also said that you guys are not meant for each other, which kind of contradicts everything. So I don't know, man. It's just I don't know. This book, the ending definitely left more questions rather than giving me answers. So interesting, man. I cannot wait to dive into the next book. I feel like we are gonna get more answers in the next book, and I don't mind that because there's 13 more books after this, so I don't mind being confused. Like, there's always gonna be more opportunities to get answers in the future, so I'm all for it, man. Anyway, that is my final thoughts on the Eye of the World. This has been a journey on itself. It took me 5 weeks to finish this book, man, and you guys were quite amazing the whole time, so thank you guys so much. Your support has been amazing. That's the whole reason why I keep making these videos, because the support I'm getting on this type of content has been spectacular. So thank you again. I will be taking a break from next week, so there will be no video on the Great Hunt. However, there will be a video related to the Wheel of Time. I might drop a spoiler-free video on the Eye of the World or something else. I'm not sure, but we'll see, man. We'll see. But next week there won't be any reading video in regards to the Great Hunt. So just to keep you guys notified on that. Anyway, that's that. Thank you so much again for tuning in. It's been quite amazing and quite a journey, so thank you again. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give me a big like, share down your comments and your thoughts down in the comment section below, and if you still have not subscribed yet, let's get to 500 subscribers right now. It's gonna be a journey and I want all of you guys to be a part of it, so thank you again. This has been quite fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care now. Bye.